Hello, and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Wake and Bake News. And how are you after the wonderful 4th of July weekend? I hope you had a nice weekend. I'm Kelly Davis, Shampoo VTA, your host. And I'm jumping on the internet, to do my show real quick because I got some things to help my husband with today. We got to get the car repaired after the, car hit the house. It knocked over stuff inside on the other side of the wall up against the car, so now the car has dents, and so the insurance has to pay for fixing it. So I'm going to go help him do that this morning. But I had a couple of things I wanted to share that happened over the weekend. And let's see. The first one is that the arguments against legalization, AUMA, are beginning to sort of bubble up to the surface, and I'm seeing absolutely nothing. I mean, literally, they are like gas bubbles just popping on the surface. Where Prop 19, you had unified large groups of activists, fighting for Prop 19. People that I saw kids running like, oh my God, Prop 19's failing the night of the vote. Where, like they got up out of their house and put the Cheetos down. And I saw this one couple, where do you vote? Where do you vote? I was like, up the street, you go park, you walk, but it was too late. We'd lost. Okay. So there were a lot of people that were in support of Prop 19. It's just it wasn't organized. And the other side are opponents, which were the growers up north, but not so much. They're an obnoxious, complaining voice, but they're not that powerful. It was the police. It was the police with their uniforms and their stars upon bars and all the shit that they wear, like they are out of the military. A lot of those things that they get like military surplus, and then they kind of take things that they give military people for their uniforms to show what they've done in the military and what their rank is. And then they make up things for each individual police force. So you see all kinds of different weird combinations of things, or at least it used to be that way, because they used to kind of have to come up with this stuff themselves. They just go out and buy a bin of them and go, okay, this shows you're a sergeant. That's why the LA police look like a freaking Rose Bowl parade float. Stars and bars and shiny things, and it's ridiculous, So in Prop 19, the only thing they had was to come out in their uniforms and say, in my experience, I've been on the force for 30 years, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, if your face is in a blowtorch every day, I think you're going to come away a little sour, And then they had religious leaders from poor communities, usually Black, come out and say, this will harm our communities, more than the arrests, more than Trayvon Martin getting shot, and then the internet going, oh, look, we found a picture of him pot smoking, so it's okay. It's okay he was shot. He was a brat anyway. He was just going to turn out bad, So that's hurting your community? Yeah, that's hurting. Like, I don't think you get what's hurting your community, bro. Okay, it's not the marijuana. It's the prohibition that's hurting your community. Well, all that is now gone. They can't come out with all of this if the Democratic Party has accepted this as their platform. They can't, not even the police can go, the Democrats are just going for a money grab. Once the Democratic Party took it as their platform, not just in California, but nationally, that really fucking changed the game. That was a big deal. You can't tell senators and shit that they are just out to get high, or you can't do that. You have to have, you can't even give them a speeding ticket, I don't think. So they're kind of stuck, but they got a new game going on. And that is the divide and conquer and try to mangle our message, right? So now you're getting all of this, it's called a whisper campaign going on. You get all this, I'm not voting for AUMA because of the taxes, and I don't like, and we'll have to jump through some hoops and all this kind of, okay, yeah, that's what grown-up people have to deal with when they're under regulation. Like I said, I was part of the education system for 25 fucking years. We help children. We have to deal with these regulations. Welcome to adulthood. This is what you asked for. Now, You want me to tell you how to handle this? Or ask a union. My husband worked at a hospital. We have to deal with regulations in hospitals. You have state inspections. You have trainings. You have to keep up. That's right, kids. That's what I worked in a donut shop. I had to deal with regulation because we had inspectors from the state come in. When I worked in the school district, I saw inspectors come in for the cafeterias. Welcome to the grown-up world. What did you think was going to happen? So people crying about taxes, which I agree the taxes are going to be too high, but the market forces are going to fix that wagon. These clowns flippin' know that. Okay? These guys are in power. They already know these things. They're bullshitting you. They're bullshitting you with dumb, ridiculous, ankle-biting arguments against something that is much bigger and much more important. Okay? So we're back to the Baptists and the bootleggers. We got all the police, and we got the Teamsters, and we got some, not all, but some hospital groups that don't like this, because it bites into their, economy. And the police are outright going, it's a money grab, which is like, really, yeah, whose money are they grabbing? Yours, right? Isn't that what this is? That you're complaining that they're grabbing out of your pocket because you like having that money? And isn't that admitting that you're in this for the money and not public safety? Because you're so concerned about them grabbing for money? Since when is grabbing for money illegal unless it's like really, when it's all done within, states' rights and a legal framework, what the fuck are you complaining about? As our society is all built around money grabbing, you're just bitching because you're grabbing your money, okay? So then you've also got growers up north that are upset because they don't like the way the regulations may make things more difficult. We're going to have to fight through that, whether you're right or wrong. Doesn't matter. This is what it is to be regulated. And everybody is. Everything you enjoy from the moment you get up in the morning, that you go and make breakfast, your tea, your coffee, your breakfast is all fucking regulated. So telling me that this is not the magic bullet that you wanted and you're just really upset because it's not perfect, I'm going to say, shut up. That is not good enough. I'm sorry, that is not good enough. You're talking about entire communities of poor people that are not benefiting from the black market, and they are being devastated, and the drug war is being used. This comedic Cheech and Chong thing is being used to devastate those communities and make it okay because they're losers. They're all losers, okay? And you're like, well, yeah, that's important, but I'm more worried about how I'm going to have to jump through hoops to get this regulated. Or that maybe I'll have to deal with, pharmacies. I may have to deal with big corporations. You know what? Welcome to the real fucking world. You should be happy. You know how long people fucking fought for you to even be discussing this possibility? Really, seriously, step back, think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying. Because none of these arguments are good enough to hold water, okay? However, what they are good enough to do is take away a mandate. And that's what I want to talk to you stoners about. Mandates. The same thing's happening to Hillary Clinton. This ankle-biting bullshit, okay? I don't give a shit how crooked she is. I really don't care, okay? I'm sorry. But there's a book, it's called The Golden Bough, and it explains very clearly that you cannot depend on someone who really believes in the religion that they're pushing, because when things hit the fan, that person is going to cave in and go off in a corner and cry, all right? But somebody who's a little bit, not Donald Trump crooked, but a little bit crooked, will come up with some kind of an excuse, maybe not a nice one, to get people through. Now, these excuses could range from it's their fault, which has been done in the past and that's wrong, to, hey, you guys, we're having a famine. How about if on one day we eat and the next day we gamble and then the next day we eat and then the next day we gamble and fucking like 15 years go by and your fucking people get through the famine because you embrace the gambling. We do that with the lottery here in California. That's how we help subsidize the school district. These are not happy-go-lucky yay solutions, but they are solutions. And they help people to keep their shit together in bad times. Okay? All right. So your leadership is not perfect. Your laws are not perfect. And some of those imperfections are not a glitch, they're a feature. For many years, we had the feature of prohibition. And the feature of prohibition allowed me to become a very knowledgeable fucking underground stoner. Not only that, but I learned to compartmentalize my life and hide, much like gay people learn to do. To hide huge segments of my personal life from everyone else, no matter how close they were to me at work. Friends that thought they were friends of mine really weren't as close as friends as other friends I had. So the feature of prohibition trained me, taught me, expanded my horizons in ways that I'm sure prohibition never intended. So you don't know what the fuck is going to come out of this thing. I like to point out, like here around July 4th, that think about it. If America had not separated from Britain, could we have come in with all that food, with all those people in World War II and fucking saved them when it looked like the Nazi Germany was going to actually kick ass? When Europe was getting the shit bombed out of it? When Britain was getting the fuck bombed out of it? I heard a story that a German soldier went into a warehouse that they had taken from the Allies, and all he saw was towering boxes of food that said USA. And he said, we've lost. Because he knew that the German people didn't have shit to eat but grass. Just the supplies alone won the war. You don't know what the fuck is going to happen in the future. We could be laying the groundwork for disaster or another win. The dumb mistakes we make now may build up into something greater that you can't even see because you're not a fucking prophet. Neither am I. We're not those people yet. We don't know yet. So judgment on this, hold on to that. I've seen things go a totally different way. You know, looks like everybody's losing. Next thing you know, it turns out it's a win. Somehow, you know. And I've seen it turn out with laws. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't even be able to seriously discuss taxing marijuana if it wasn't for the lottery. If I had known back then that those idiots voting in a lottery, a state lottery, to help pay for education were going to help usher in the concept of taxing marijuana, I would have been like, fuck yeah, all for it. But I was like, are you kidding? You're legalizing, gambling to help subsidize the school district when you don't legalize marijuana? I was like, you know how much more damage is done to to communities from gambling? There are people that have gambling that would love to substitute that economy for marijuana because the gambling economy really can devastate people's lives. The marijuana economy doesn't do that. That addiction to gambling can cause like alcoholism and family breakups and bankruptcy and all kinds of serious fucking problems. Marijuana is not going to cause. Okay. So now, like I said, we're at this point of ankle biting, much like what's going on with the presumptive Democratic nominee. Ankle biting. She got the lead. She got the lead over Trump. So now we're going to talk about how she don't look good. She's wearing the same pantsuit. Just bullshit. They're going to come up with the most clownish shit. And I've seen it done. I I was on the opposite team when I saw it done to Barack Obama, and I was playing along with part of it. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this is a losing. And I said it. I said, hey, I thought the Republicans could have had a chance with John McCain. But those fucking idiots, they clung on to every Obama's a Nazi, Obama isn't an American. They sucked up to every stupid bullshit thing that tanked their effort. I stood there amongst them going, you guys realize how stupid you are? No, they really don't. Try it as a liberal. Go in, try and help those morons to have a better campaign. They can't. They literally can't. I had that experience with John McCain. I'm sorry, John McCain's part of that party. Those guys are fucking morons. I stood there. I was like, are you seriously going to talk about Obama that way? You know that's going to turn everybody against you, right? No, you're just going to do it. You're just going to talk about his fucking birth certificate endlessly. Boom, there goes their campaign. And this is what I'm telling stoners out there. You get talking about some harebrained bullshit with marijuana legalization, you're going to shoot yourself right in the foot. You won't have two birds in the hand, one in the bush, one up your ass. You won't have nothing. You'll have less than what you came into this thing with. And that includes you growers up north. You'll walk away with this with less than you had before if you play this. That's what they want you to do. That's what divide and conquer is all about. Mandate. What's a mandate? A political mandate is when you have had such a gigantic vote on your side that it has the political force that you can, it's like capital, you can spend in the future to undo many of the overregulated things that are happening. Colorado has such a mandate. So they can go in and start relaxing some of those restrictions on dispensaries and maybe consider having some marijuana clubs and stuff because now they got a little mandate. And that's not cash money, that's public opinion, more valuable than cash money. Don't piss that away with dumbass fucking UFO fucking arguments right now, children. This is an old political war dog telling you, don't do that, you're fucking up. And if you think this is going to help you, it won't. Your friends will get slapped, but that slap will come for you too. You stand together or you fall separately. Do you understand? You stand together or you fall separately. The more you let these idiots pick off, and you're not going to be able to win everybody over. You got to let people go. That was one of the most painful political lessons I had to learn was, you can't win them all over. It's like you can't save them all. Like everybody's not going to join you at the banquet table. Some people are going to stand off to the side, even though there is a place with their name, and you're going, hey, come here. Come here, you can sit down too. There's plenty for you. Why don't you sit down? Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man. I wouldn't eat that shit. Why are you eating? That looks like shit. I wouldn't eat, you're always going to have that guy who just won't sit his fucking ass down and join us at the banquet table, plenty for everybody. Because he's just gonna, it's all pride. It's all about pride or butthurt or something. I don't know what the major malfunction is. I don't really care. It's sad, is what I know. Everybody's gonna have a nice time. This idiot's gonna be over there wearing sackcloth and sitting in ashes and crying for no goddamn good reason when there's plenty for everybody. Okay? I see it in the ocean with surfers. Every wave is theirs. This is dip thinking. There are plenty of waves in the sea for everybody. What's the matter with you? That's psychotic. Get off my wave, my beach. Locals only. You know what I mean? Okay. And it's self-defeating. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to see through these arguments. And I'm going to present one of these crazy things they're trying to do to you today. A story that came back out from Mr. Crazy Person out of Orange County that thinks he talks to a secret DEA, person, who's telling him secrets of the DEA. We're chasing Snowden across half the fucking continent. Fucking the guy from WikiLeaks has been living in a hotel for like the last like 10 years or some shit. Like, I don't know how long. But this bitch from the DEA gets to sit in a restaurant and drink $150 glasses of wine and nobody's putting a cap in his ass? Please, son, get out of here with that shit. People who believe in conspiracy theories are going to believe that this guy is just sitting in a restaurant going, and by the way, the DEA is planning to do this and that and the other thing. Get out of here. Okay, political mandate. If you go into an election with a political mandate, you will have political capital to take down all the bullshit regulations they try to attach. That's what they're gaming for. They want to take away your ability to stop their little monkey wrenches. And so they're going to play on your fears. Just like they sell you shit, they're going to push your pain points. What are you afraid of? Spiders? The dark? Well, marijuana will cause spiders. And big corporations will bring the dark. Seriously, you need to fucking get the fuck out of the fun house. Okay, you're in a boat. This is a fun house. This is a tunnel of love. You got a creep next to you. He says he's your friend, right? And then it's going to come out during the election. You're going to go, oh, save me, friend. And he's going to grab the booby. You're going to get a cup of feel. You're going to walk out of there with less of your pride. Because you're a stupid fucking idiot. And you're in a boat with a creep in the tunnel of love. Okay? You need to stay on target. Star Wars, stay on target. I don't give a shit if Darth Vader's off my wing. Fuck you, Darth Vader. You ain't bothering me right now. I'll play a fucking guitar through a fucking shitstorm. Like, that's what it is. You gotta be kidding. I've been fighting this for 30 years. You think at the end I'm going to trip up because some guy brings me a fucking record of the month club argument? Go away. You got to be, All right. So one of the arguments one of the trolling things I'm going to bring you this morning is the first story. And there's another one that I'm not going to read you that I will mention now. And that is that one of the major, like Forbes or some of these guys, one of these dumb organizations tried to come out and say that marijuana prices would drop to $1 a gram if marijuana was legalized in California. Yeah, right. We'd be lucky if it got to $5 a gram. That would be reasonable. $1 a gram. Have you been to the dollar store? I mean, come on. They're not going to sell the kind of weed they'd sell that would be $1 a gram would look like potpourri. That would be so gross. If you've been to the dollar store and seen like their little tomato starters for $1, they're half dead already. What is the matter with your brain? It wouldn't be worth getting into. That's for damn sure. Yeah, here's some sticks. It's $1 a gram. Big fucking deal. That's it. Real weed is never going to be $1 a gram. I'm sorry. I would love to see that day. It ain't going to happen. I mean, I was like, what in the fuck is this magazine fucking smoking? If they think it's going to be $1 a gram, that's crazy. Okay, so the next story that is more crazy is, again, this guy, clown from Orange County, saying that he's got the inside dope from the DEA on what's going to happen. And then I've got this image I want to show you afterwards of a conversation that happened between Tom Engel and Ben Adelin about how, first off, if you start actually researching some of the elements of the story, you realize this is complete fucking fantasy. Okay. So I'm going to read part of this ridiculous story to you, but I get about halfway through and I'm sorry. First off, you start arguing with the fantasy DEA agent, which is exactly what the goddamn article wants you to do. And it just seems to be a opinion. He's not really giving anything away. He's just sitting there drinking, supposedly, $150 glass of wine, supposedly, in a restaurant, in open, getting upset at the questions this guy's asking him, and then giving him his opinion. Yes, well, doggone it, I don't believe this. And in a restaurant. I'm a DEA, just call me DEA lawyer, everyone. I'm here to give some... This shit doesn't really happen. What's this, fucking the beginning of Jurassic Park? Go away. You know, the fat guy in the restaurant, you know, get me some of that dino DNA. Yeah, sure. This ain't a fucking, Disney movie. Go away. So I'm going to read this fantasy thing to you, but I want you to understand this story happens completely in this guy's head. So here we go again. The Santa Monica Observer, who apparently gets scoops where no one else in the nation gets scoops from big-time DEA sources. Right, sure, I'll believe that one. DEA source confirms Schedule 2 medical marijuana is in the works. We're just working out the details before we go public with it. Let me tell you how the big pharma industry works, in quotations, said the DEA lawyer, which never gets named, picking up a glass of Chardonnay and swirling it around. We were having lunch at Shutters on the beach, and the wine for which I would pay cost $150 a glass. But he had promised to answer some questions from readers of my groundbreaking article entitled U.S. Government Will Legalize Marijuana August 1st. I'll tell you how this industry works. The big pharma people take the DEA leadership to dinner to discuss the legalization of marijuana, how it's going to really work, they say. Listen, you and I both know that cannabis is much less dangerous, but much less addictive than a lot of the Schedule 2 stuff that we already sell, such as Oxycontin. Why don't you just let us go ahead and sell a few products, THC extracts, TBD oil, so we can all make some money instead of all this small-time weed clinic guys with their dispensaries banking the cash. Let us bank it. The side effects are probably not nearly as bad as other drugs like oxycodone, because they're not the result of chemists committing unnatural acts with molecules. And a few years from now, when you need a job, you can come work with me. I am certain that's how it works with my superiors. He's a tall man, a tall, blue-eyed DEA lawyer. I'll call him Deep Throat. I'll call him the voices in your head. He ain't real, pal. He met with me on condition I not write anything that might compromise his identity, because he was not authorized to speak to the press. I read him questions from readers, and he answered from over filet mignon and wine. Yes, here in this age where we're chasing Snowden and WikiLeaks and everything like this across the ends of the earth for leaking things, this DEA agent can leak things over wine. Yeah, right, sure, this is happening. I'm swallowing that one. Someone's living in a fantasy land. Does this mean insurance companies, including ones with Medicaid and Medicare patients, will have access to prescriptions and having the costs covered by their insurance companies at the pharmacy like any other drug? Yes, absolutely, under state law. Coverage exclusions would run into federal issues. It's always a plan-by-plan question. But as a default, I would say it would be covered. Why not? As long as prescription medications are covered under whatever this is, or the federal law. The DEA actually stated in a memo to lawmakers a couple of months back that they would be deciding on marijuana scheduling by the end of June. The Denver Post story talking about July 1st isn't stating anything new, but this story certainly is. Congratulations. I've been sharing it all over. Yes, and did you notice how the July 1st deadline came and went? Just as a matter of logic, the statement that nothing is new is wrong. The decision was already been made. Folks, Schedule 2 marijuana is in the works. We're just working out the details before we go public with it. I'm calling bullshit on this. Okay, this will destroy the existing industry. How about all the people that spent their life savings to get licensed and open up a dispensary? How about all the manufacturers of soil and edibles that won't be able to conform to FDA regulations? Clinical trials are lengthy and expensive. CVS will be responsible for selecting products for consumers. The black market will explode again. Sigh. Looks at his salad again. Yeah, I keep hearing that. Yes, it might destroy the existing industry. Maybe it should, because the public would be better served by pharmacists. Of course, they would be. This is like a fantasy discussion. This guy is a fantasy writer. The DEA might never squeeze them for it if they did sell weed, but the pharmacists can fill a marijuana clinic recommendation, or they'd risk losing their license. And it's logical. They're exactly the people who should be in medical cannabis. The people that we at the DEA regulate are exactly the people who should enjoy the legal right to sell marijuana products. That's fair. And also in the public interest. Oh, no, it isn't. But this is a fantasy conversation. This is not real. This did not really happen. This is fake. This guy is writing a story to suck people in. That's why it's got pain points, you notice? Oh, yes, everything will probably be wiped out. Everybody that's terrified of that is reading that and going, oh, this is just like what I think. Dude, it's not real. They are fucking with you. Yes, you may have a legitimate fear about the coming market. This guy is dicking with you. This guy is like, I can watch me play with their emotion. You're being trolled. This is trolling. Okay. If all this state regulation is superseded by general regulation with a capital G, I didn't see why that's a bad thing. Don't you trust CVS? Fuck no. More than some random dude who sells weed products? That is the random dude. What is this guy talking about? Well, that is the random dude. Hey, man, meet me in back. I'm on duty today. I have to work. So why don't you come by on my lunch break? Why don't you fucking wake up, fantasy boy? See, they got me. See, this is what the whole argument is about. Fantasy characters having a fantasy argument to get people like us riled up, like me. Okay. This industry, as it is now, is operating in a gray area. It would be better for patients and society if it were not a public health and safety issue. And the DEA decides this stuff, go away. I mean, I'm sorry. This is really stupid. The problem is allowing the whole MJ plant to be legal. What the layman does not understand is that there are specific parts of the plant that are harmful and others that do have very solid evidence-based research to support it. THC is mood altering and harmful to any human 25 years old. Many peer-reviewed studies linked THC to schizophrenia, reduced motivation, reduced education, etc. Cannabidiol, however, is incredible proven research for its benefits. Cannabidiol, in other words, that they could get from hemp and not marijuana. But this is fantasy. Remember, this is just some guy who's writing up all the arguments he's finding on the internet about this issue into a fantasy conversation to get readers riled up and to try to throw a monkey wrench into legalization and divide and conquer. That's what all of this is about. This is classic art of war stuff. This is when you send in false information to your enemy's troops to shake them, so that they falter. That's what this is. Don't fall for this. This is baby shit. This is fucking baby fucking, come on. I'm gonna write a fantasy story and get everybody to believe that there's a secret DEA informant. Yeah, right. Why isn't he being chased to the ends of the earth like fucking Snowden? He should be. Okay. Okay, so then it says, throws down his fork. Yes, yes, yes. And moving marijuana to Schedule 2 is all about allowing people to do clinical research. I'm all in favor of that, as are my colleagues in the DEA. So let me get this straight. This DEA informant who is secretly leaking information to this reporter throws his fork down at a restaurant where they sell $150 bottles or glasses of wine. Yeah, right! Bullshit! He be escorted. Excuse me, sir, you're making too much noise over there. Leaking information from the federal government that you shouldn't. Come on, dude, this is bullshit. I'm gonna make a scene in this restaurant because I'm upset at what you said. This is like fantasy. The guy's like a fucking fantasy writer, okay? I wonder if it's a robot that's writing this. Maybe it's artificial intelligence that's doing this. Okay, personally though, I don't see how you can just wave a magic wand and say all of this stuff is now Schedule 2. This will have to go through the same trials as anything else of Schedule 4. On Schedule 4. We parse through that what is or is not a drug on the plant. Let's see, a drug on the plant, whatever. Okay, and that opens the possibility that what is more controversial could survive, but you're open to some real possibilities that some stuff will not survive for having to go through FDA approval, with FDA saying what they like and don't like. Exhaustive scientific study will be performed, including human studies. Now, this is what I find fascinating. I'm going to stop right here. This is what the police did. If you remember, I read an article not too long ago from Ken Corney, our police chief in Ventura, where he said in the same fucking response that number one, there's so much testing of people that have had car accidents in Colorado. Apparently everybody, whoever ingested marijuana and has had a car accident, it's because of the marijuana, right? It's because they don't have a test that can test, your inebriation at the moment of the accident. They can only test to see if you had it in your system, and it can stay up to your system for like two months, like a month, right? That's why they're able to test you for urine, because they're able to pick up marijuana in your system for a month. Well, they're doing those tests with people that have car crashes and going, see, marijuana caused this. They got stoned a month ago. What are you talking about? Okay, so in that article, he says that we've been doing these tests and we found out all these people are having car accidents and these numbers are concerning. But then later in the article, he says we don't have a test yet. And we won't have one for 5 to 10 years or something like this that's going to be able to test for impairment. So they contradict them fucking selves all the time. And here we go again with this bullshit. Didn't this guy just tell us about how there's been all these FDA trials and peer-reviewed trials? But then in the same article, he comes back and tells us about how long it'll take us to get these trials. And that nobody will have the medicine available to them until they get... This is pure D bullshit. I mean, this is just bullshit. I was telling my dad about this on the phone. If you listen to what these guys are actually arguing, they contradict themselves. We don't have a test yet, but all those people that we tested in Colorado that had those accidents... Dude, are you listening to yourself? You just said that we don't have any scientific evidence of its medical efficacy, but you have a bunch of trial studies that are scientific. How can that be? How does this work? Okay? Because what? All the trials supposedly before were supposed to be negative and not positive. Some were positive. They were from Israel. They are applicable. They are applicable. We don't ignore the research from other countries to solve the AIDS problem or cancer and go, well, now we have to do our own trials and try. Yeah, no, we will do our own trials, but we'll, pretty much figure that the Israeli scientists aren't dicking around over there. I don't know, what is this? This is like written by somebody maybe in college, somebody who thinks they're real clever. They got an eye for fantasy writing, maybe. The whole thing about throwing the fork down, about drinking a $150 glass of wine. That's to make this imaginary person human, and oh, yes, all this and blah, blah, blah. No, dude, you're supposed to be a lawyer and you've contradicted yourself at least twice in this article. Okay. You couldn't just say hemp is good. You could say it's through the FDA ringer. If parts are good and parts aren't, we're going to find out. And that's something your local green clinic operator will never do for you, would he? But that has nothing to do with anything. I'm just going to say blah, 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 out in the middle of the air. Which has, and another thing is this guy seems to give a hell of a lot of opinion that has nothing to do with actual leaking of information. This is all stuff everybody already fucking knows and is arguing about. And it doesn't get you riled up reading it. It's meant to. This is one of these little tricky tricks. We're in the tunnel of love, kids. If you don't watch it, you're going to jump into that creep's arm and he's going to cop a feel. We're in the tunnel of love. This is the fun house. This is a fun house. Or they send out the guy on the spring. Fucking ignore that shit. It's stupid and childish. It's about time. We need to remove marijuana from the DEA drug scheduling list. Look at alcohol. It has no more currently acceptable medical use than marijuana and has a high potential for abuse. We need to stop destroying lives and regulate marijuana like alcohol. If the legalization of marijuana stops one alcohol overdose, what's a life worth? I hear this comparison a lot. It's fair to raise the argument. What the fuck do I care about your goddamn opinion? I thought you were here to fucking leak information, bro. Now we're gonna have a philosophical discussion. See what I mean? Okay, I'm done reading this. I'm sorry. I can't read this bullshit script anymore. Okay? I'm telling you, this is a giant funhouse, and I got some more proof that this is not only fake, but this is the new normal. Okay, the police can't come out and with their badges and religious leaders from poor communities like they did with Prop 19 and say, oh, drugs are bad. The kids are gonna get Halloween candy. So now they're doing this. Somehow they're planting, or somehow somebody is doing this trolling for whoever is against this, whether it's the police organizations or Big Pharma or Project Sam. But this is the new game. They can't argue against our arguments anymore, so now they're just going to try to turn it into fucking garbledygook so nobody agrees on it. Like the Tower of Babel. Bullshit, I ain't buying this. Fuck you. We're on a trajectory, son. Stay on target. Stay on target. I don't give a shit if Darth Vader's on my wing, bitch. I got the fucking Force, and this dog can hunt. And I see your game. Fuck you. You ain't gonna get me arguing with other stoners while we're right here at the Win. What is this? Like fucking, like a road to trip. Like, a Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. Just when the bad guys get him, suddenly Bing Crosby and Bob Hope starts doing a fucking, patty cake, and then you're knocked out. Fuck your patty cake. That's what this is. Patty cake, you're gonna be the one that's unconscious, bitch. I ain't falling for this crap. Go away. That was literally the most annoying part of the morning I had to get through, which was to report this. That this clown, this sham artist, has once again come out fishing with this fishing tackle to see what kind of rubes he could suck into believing this story. Right? Here's some buds I got left over from 4th of July. I found that this is Morning Glory. This is This is called Morning Glory, which you can't see. Okay, so I'm going to show you a conversation that I read the comments from. But this is a conversation that happened on Twitter about this story between Tom Engel, like I said, and this other guy, where he actually went and called this supposed restaurant to ask about $150 glasses of wine. Do you really have such a thing? Ben Adeline. That latest DEA rescheduling story, ? Restaurant doesn't sell $150 glasses of Chardonnay. Reference. DEA source confirms Scheduling 2 medical marijuana is in the works. Ben Adeline. And I called Shutters, California, left VMs at restaurant per Dallas at the front desk. We don't have anything like that here. Bogus or not, it's a worrisome sign when the first fact in your story doesn't check out. Deb Ford, this is excellent reporting and on a holiday weekend. Ben Adeline, he links, CC. Tom Engel, he also relinked to this. And Rick Bacchus, laughing. I was laughing too. This guy just keeps pumping out fake stories. And, you know, and it was like, it's crazy. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, there's probably a couple of things that I could guess at, right? One is, obviously, this is money. This is money moving. This is PR money. It's either, it could be people on one side or the other, or it could be just somebody in the middle trolling. But it's definitely money. Who has money to do this, you know? And I don't get the feeling this is a real paper. Like I've been talking about how so much of the news seems to be fake now, or mirrors of other places, and somebody just sets up a hosting site and it's just a bunch of mirrors of different websites, and then they put it all up there like what I'm doing, curate it and turn it into a page, and then go, I'm a news site, you know, when actually, no, they're bogus. This could even be a site that's phishing your information while you're there reading the story, see? So there could be a lot of reasons why people are doing this. They could be trying to throw a monkey wrench in. It could be PR money moving, like how when Gaddafi was in so much trouble in Libya, he spent a ton of money on PR companies to put out good stories about him, and suddenly he started reading about what a wonderful grandfather he is, and look at these children, of pictures of him with the children, and how could we chase him down and stick a screwdriver up his ass? Very easily, you know. You know, and he spent that money till it was pissed away, and he's running in the desert in a fucking limo, and they finally caught up with his ass, and we saw what happened. So it could be a little bit of desperation, money spending, you know. There's always, I watch this in Arab Spring. You got these people that go out there and try to give disinformation because they're trying to divide your forces and get you to argue amongst yourselves. Fuck that shit. I don't give a shit about your fucking evil mind control bull crap. I'm on a mission, and I'm gonna hurt you. And there is not anybody in God's green earth, friend or foe, that's gonna stop me from doing that. So they can line up as many tin soldiers in front of me as they want, and I'm just gonna knock them down like they were paper. And this is one of them. Okay, so after that, annoyance. That's really all that's out there, though. It's this pathetic sort of, I mean, I don't even know what to call it. It's not really even, I mean, I've seen some things about how marijuana is a terrible idea. Marijuana legalization, this AUMA thing is a terrible, oh my goodness, and blah, blah, blah. Those kind of thing, you know, whatever. Yeah. I'm sorry. That kind of just, like I said, it was like a fart in a bathtub. It kind of made a bubble and popped and went away. And you smelled it for like a couple of days, and then it was gone. And nobody cared anymore. Seriously, that's what I see coming up. There are no real serious forces out there. There are no large group armies that are amassing on the horizon. There is no fucking cavalry coming for these people. Now what they're doing is they're putting like a, what do you call it, scarecrow up over the wall with like a rifle. We got more men than you think. You know, they got a line of scarecrows. And a story like what I just read to you is a scarecrow. It's not real. It's there to shake you. It's there to get you to argue with the guy that's battling right arm to arm next to you and question his loyalty. Question him. Because that's how they're going to win, is to get you to trip up. So that's why they put this stink out there. Did you fart? You know, you see what I'm saying? It's old political bullshit. You just fucking ignore it. They do this shit to the school, to the education system all the time. You should see what they talk about with the teachers, the little stories they put out there. What do you think all these little stories about child molesting teachers is all about? It ain't just criminal activity or police blotters. It's with intent to destroy the ability of their unions to have political force, to be able to spend political capital, to peel off supporters by making everybody think that every other teacher's a fucking child molester, which is bullshit. Right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Right now in the battle, we got a bunch of bitches playing a dumbass, crippled, hobbling game. They're going to lose. Don't let them dissuade you. Stay on target. After the election, you will have a political mandate. If you piss it away, all the problems that you don't like about AUMA will stay there, and you won't have the political mandate to move heaven or earth. That's what they're counting on. Fucking you up. Because you'll come away with this thing with less than you started with. That's another thing they want. They want to take your bird in the hand, the two in the bush, the one in your pocket, the one you got home hidden under the bed. They want everything. They want to trick you into giving it to them by getting you to be afraid or question things, or, you know, be that lone voice, you know, be that guy if that's what you want to do. But understand there are consequences if you lose, and they're big. They're big. You know, you better start looking at what the numbers actually say. You don't have the support to come out of this thing clean. Okay, so the positive story I want to read to you is about this kind of political force I'm talking about. This is a story I found on Reddit, and apparently it does look like it could be true. Apparently there was a police force in Georgia, a very small town of about 9,000 people, and they arrested a guy who is an activist and believes strongly that the prohibitionist laws are oppressive against civil rights and individual rights and stuff. And so he's growing 4 pot plants, so they bust him. He's a vocal activist, so they know he supports marijuana. They bust him. Apparently somebody on Facebook found out about this, activists on Facebook, and then this is basically what the kind of thing you see that's going on with this Keenstar guy. If you've seen some of the top trending videos on YouTube, they're all talking about how Keenstar's doxing people, how he's swatting them and doing stuff like this. Well, this is the same kind of idea, except it's against a police force, and it's using a Facebook following that supports marijuana legalization. So let's it's an amazing story about how a public outcry can really make a difference. Reddit.com, elder trees. Marijuana activists have applied so much pressure on Georgia Sheriff Department that they caved. This has all gone down in the last week or so. It is a very rapidly developing story. First, a few things. Everything I'm posting here you can find on the Facebook page. No inside knowledge is being posted. I'm going to change the name of the suspect, but keep the name of the Sheriff's Department and Facebook page involved. Feel free to frequent them. Mods, I hope. Okay. Bubba, we will call him Bubba, was growing 4 marijuana plants and was fairly vocal about his displeasure with anti-marijuana laws. Well, about a week ago or so, Bubba's Sheriff's Department, Montgomery County, decided to go and do a drug bust. It involved three separate state agencies and a helicopter, estimating to cost about $100,000 plus range. The result of the drug bust? They busted Bubba with his 4 plants. They were so happy with themselves, they decided to brag about their victory on Facebook. They even released Bubba's name. Well, Georgia Care, a pro-marijuana organization in Georgia, got wind of the story and invited their 10,000 Facebook warriors to Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. To put this in perspective, the entire county of Montgomery has about 9,000 people in it. Well, within hours, and I'm not joking, it was hours, thousands of comment, emails, and phone calls were made. They crushed the small sheriff's department's ability to deal with complaints, control their Facebook page. This also got the attention of Hawk Law Group, who really enjoys taking on really difficult trial cases and pushing the limits. So what was the result of this? Well, the Georgia law Bubba was charged with production of an illegal controlled drug. This means that Bubba has to wait for a superior court to arrange for his bond hearing, which means weeks, if not months in jail. But remember, all of that hate the sheriff's department got, yeah, it didn't just stop, but kept calling. People kept pushing. In fact, Georgia Care started a program to monitor all Georgia Sheriff's Department Facebook pages for pot busts. Eventually, the sheriff made a decision to release Bubba. Yes, that's right. The sheriff has so much public pressure to release Bubba, he caved. In fact, he's quoted from a deputy who drove Bubba back. "Oh, you just don't know what's been happening. We're police, the bad guys in this, and apparently we, the police, are the bad guys in this, and apparently we all need to go on a diet." Is the story over? No charges have been dropped, however. Hawk Law Group is apparently going to represent Bubba, and Bubba has a massive county backing him, a community that far exceeds even the population of his county. There is more to this story, but I get the feeling this could be a major landmark case. Political activism does work. Happy July 4th. Let freedom ring. Okay, so I got to get ready to go here because my husband just returned and I'm not dressed yet. It took too long to do this. Okay, so what I wanted to point out was that the internet has brought us the ability to organize. That you may not agree with people in your immediate area, but there are humans on this planet that fucking agree with you, and you are part of a tribe. You may not even know it, and you may not agree on every single point. The point is that with that sort of political force, that political capital, you can make a lot of things happen. When the internet first began to appear, and I went to a training and I went to a teachers conference in San Francisco. I was sent there by the union. And I went to go see James Burke. And he was talking about the internet. And it was all about technology as technology began to emerge in the educational, they were showing the teachers what they could do with overheads and things like this. And I was like, oh, you have no idea what you people are going to be able to do. But I was learning too about the thing that James Burke said was that technology would erase borders because people always controlled information, controlled people. And if you were in a certain geographical area, you couldn't find out certain things. And the internet has erased those borders. And he projected, when asked what would happen, he said, oh, they're going to try to stop it. They're going to try to lock it down. And obviously China does that to Google and stuff because they don't want their people to see all that freedom. I don't like it, you know. Okay, for us stoners, it's the same thing. So when I came back from that conference to my little hearing impaired program, and the teachers were talking about how they didn't have enough political force to get the support they needed to help those students and to get people to see the problems with what was going on in the system that they were concerned about, I said, but if you get on the internet, you could connect with hearing impaired programs all across the country. Then you could talk together, organize, you could share information, and you could build political power out of that. They looked at me like they didn't even know what the fuck I was talking about. It doesn't matter if that person doesn't live with you. It doesn't matter if that person lives on another continent in a place where they're oppressed. If they agree with you, that's 2 people. If somebody else agrees with you, that's 3. And even though you may not agree on all the same things, if you agree on the general gist of the idea, you're a political community, you have political capital. The opponent for legalization is on the edges, trying to pick off the weak of mind. They're trying to pick off that herd and lower our numbers. Are you one of those guys on the edge that's getting picked off by that predator? Are you the one that's doubting the group? Are you with us? Or are you vulnerable to be taken out? You know, reducing our numbers and reducing our power. That's the question you got to ask yourself. That's what I want stoners to think about. This is a purposeful attempt to take down our support because they see it's huge. It's 68% for medical in Florida. They have to go in and whittle those numbers down because after the election, they could get legalization outright for everybody based on the popularity of that. They know that. So all you guys out there that they're talking to is like, oh, you got to worry about taxes. You got to worry about this. Remember, they have an agenda. Question what that is. Why are you talking like this? You know, how come suddenly, you know, we're talking like this? And oh, I'm sure you got a lot of good excuses. Not good enough. Not good enough. Rough House Studios, which is what I want to end on, this weekend said they were coming out against AUMA. I was like, unsubscribe. And that's what's going to happen. You're not with us? You know, you're not with us? You're a problem. You know, so you're going to get unsubscribed. I'm sorry. You know, I respect your opinion, but I'm not going to sit there and listen to somebody try to pull off members of the herd because they want to reduce our forces, because they want to be able to win. I consider that totally Benedict Arnold. It can't be tolerated. I'm sorry, I'm from a union. People like you get excluded. You don't find out what's going on because now you're a problem. You can't be trusted. You weaken our ability to make this happen. You come away with less than what you started with. When you play this game, you better have the political force to play. Otherwise, you're going to leave that card table bankrupt. I'm just saying. You're playing for 2 in the bush. You got 1 in the hand, I'd stick with that. Now, the opponents to AUMA could say the same thing, and I would argue no. I have family members that were never on the side of legalization, now seeing my argument crystal clear. I have had 2 conversations in the last 4 days with elderly family members about the addictions of oxycodone and opioids and what the FDA has to do with it, and the DEA and the drug war. And they're going to vote for legalization now. You don't have the political force to pull this off. You might get kicked in the teeth. So you can try. I think you should, if you really believe in this. But understand, if you lose, it could be painful for you because you will be seen as someone who did not support. Do you see? There's a price to pay for everything. I know I paid it for the last 30 years. Yeah, it's all part of doing business. It's not an insult. It's a compliment. It's not a glitch. It's a feature. It's not a disaster. It's an opportunity. So if you see this as an insult or something, it's not. This is a compliment. Good, well done. You've got my attention. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're doing and then knock it off because I'm not going to pay attention to that. If somebody else does, well, that's their choice. Just like it was the choice of some young men that drove a Porsche into my mother-in-law's house to lie about who the driver was. That was their choice. You're adults. You get to make choices, and you get to live with the consequences of those choices. And this is a political fight, and I know how to do this. This dog can hunt, okay? So you stay high and goodbye. And think about that story out of Georgia. I never did smoke this weed. I got to hurry up. Think about that story out of Georgia. We have political power. Welcome to the new age. You don't have to listen to all this ankle biting anymore. I don't have to freak out over every new study that comes out that's anti-marijuana. Everybody's pretty much got the script now that that's all bullshit. Finally got to smoke that bowl. All right, so cheers. I hope you had a really super nice holiday and happy Canada Day. I had a wonderful time. It was magical. However, the fireworks in Ventura at Ventura College, oh my God, they're pathetic. It's because they're trying to hide them. They want you to go pay. I saw $10 to pay for parking near the college at one of the local parking lots for like a little mini shopping mall or something. And then you got to pay to go sit there and watch that pathetic fucking example of American pride. Meanwhile, in Oxnard, it looked like Saturn just kept exploding. Boom, 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 boom. The fireworks display up at Point Hueneme went off before the Ventura College one. Went on during the Ventura College one. The Ventura College one ended with their pathetic, I don't know what the fuck. I mean, they had sparklers. I don't know what they were doing. They were playing like, it just, I wouldn't pay for that shit. I was standing on a balcony watching it through the trees. I'm like, this is sad. I mean, I'm embarrassed. This is embarrassing, you know. But wow, I'll tell you what, Oxnard was amazing. They got patriotism down, man. Even my mother-in-law is standing there going, they should not make people pay to go see this. And I'm like, yeah, it looks terrible. She's like, that was terrible. She's like 85, and she goes, that was terrible. Look at Oxnard. Don't look at the college. They're pathetic. I wouldn't pay for that. So, gosh, that was really embarrassing. My town is embarrassing. They don't even have patriotism down. I mean, oh my God. But the Point Hueneme, the Oxnard fireworks show was spectacular. Maybe there's some video out there I can find to link to it. But theirs was, I mean, I was amazed how big. Boom! And I mean, they're fucking miles away. And it was as big as my thumb if I held it out like this. That's how big some of the fireworks were. And I mean, that's got to be, I mean, that's miles away. It was big, you know. If it had been next to the house, it would have been, you know, planetoid. While the stuff at the college was just like beep, 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 beep. Oh God, it was so sad. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Anyway, so we did have a really nice fireworks display and stuff. It just wasn't in our town. I guess we're just. Wow, I don't know what to say. It's all about greed here or something. Something's wrong with these people. They got mental problems here. I don't know what to do. And they blocked off all the streets like somebody's going to go watch that pathetic hobbling shit. I wouldn't even bother. It was like my mother-in-law just kept yelling, look at Oxnard. Don't bother with them. That's not even interesting. She just kept yelling at us. That's stupid. Don't even look at that. All right, so you stay high and goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. Funniest hashtag like ever, 1776 Trump. Hashtag 1776 Trump. I was against the French and Indian War from the beginning. It was a disaster, a total disaster. 1776 Trump. Lynching slaves is popular with my associates. I haven't researched that. 1776 Trump. The French are bringing crime. They're bringing rum. They're bringing papists. And some, I assume, are good people. We're building a moat, and the Indians are going to pay for it. 1776 Trump. 1776 Trump. Ben Franklin is a crazy drunk. He flew a kite in a thunderstorm. Hugely incompetent. Bad. These aliens and sedition acts are weak. Very weak, sad. We must ban the Catholics out until, ban the Catholics out until we figure what's going on. 1776 Trump. Crooked George says, I have small slaves. He's such a liar. Looks like, look at those slaves. Do those slaves look small to you? There's another one down here that was really funny. Where's my African American? 1776 Trump, which could play with him within any time period. I think we all want to see George Washington's birth certificate. 1776 Trump. Very, 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 very clever. Brilliant. That made me laugh. That was good. I could take out my musket and shoot a founding father and still not lose votes. 1776 Trump. Oh, sometimes the internet just tickles the shit out of me.